studio is Lindsay Horvath, the LA County Supervisor who represents the Pacific Palisades, Malibu, and other areas impacted by last year's fire. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
What do you make of EPA Administrator Zeldin coming here?
I'm glad he's coming here, but what we need is the investment in the solutions that are actually going to work. We need to staff up. We need the support from the federal government that every other city that's gone through a disaster like this has gotten. We need that investment. It was authorized by President Biden, so we're now more than a year later, still sitting, waiting for hundreds of millions of dollars that not only means staffing up and administrative costs, but it's also how do we invest in the infrastructure that's needed.
So Zeldin is going to be meeting with LA Mayor Bass. He's going to be meeting with other county officials. Is he meeting with you?
No.
Why is that?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, so the office hasn't reached out or anything like that?
No.
Would you want to meet with him?
I'd absolutely meet with him. I represent the unincorporated communities in Sunset Mesa, the Santa Monica Mountains, Topanga, that were impacted by the Palisades fire. I represent Malibu, which is not part of the Palisades area. It's its own area that is focused on its redevelopment. So these communities need to be represented as well.
What would you say to him if you got to talk to him?
Well, that we need to find a way to work together to make sure that the process that they're setting up actually takes into account the very real issues that we're dealing with. We have issues on the coastline in Malibu with hundreds of homes that have been operating on individual septic systems. We have homes that need geological studies to make sure that they don't fall like we saw in North Carolina and that we saw in other parts of Los Angeles County. We have to make sure that we're doing this process in a smart way so people come home to safe communities.
I mean, President Trump says the permitting isn't going fast enough. He signed this executive order to try to speed that process up with what he calls federal permitting. But you passed a resolution at the Board of Supervisors today pushing back on that.
Absolutely. We need somebody who's on the ground actually watching what's going on. Half of the homes in the unincorporated areas of both my district and Supervisor Barger's district have already entered the permitting process. So we are moving forward at a very expedited pace, especially for Los Angeles County.
You know, there's a lot of people that wish you were going faster.
And we understand that. There are also community members, the Sunset Mesa Homeowners Association, they are telling us if we move too fast, the thing that makes their home special, looking over the Pacific Ocean, will be gone entirely. So they've actually, in some cases, asked us to slow down and work with them. So I understand that we need to keep things moving, and we're doing everything we can to expedite. But what we need is a federal partner in that work, not somebody who's a chaos agent.
So last time we talked, you said that the fires were preventable. And there was an investigation that the city put out that was scrutinized. Even the fire department admitted that some of they sort of fudged it to make them look better.
Yes.
You've reached out to Governor Newsom
Yes.
in the state asking for their help in an investigation.
Absolutely. We needed the city to be a partner to the county in our after action. They refused. We need the state to step in and make sure that the questions are answered that remain unanswered. It's not only good for us at the county to make sure that we understand what happened in the city so we can be a better partner with the city going forward in issues like this, but it's also important for our residents to have answers, not only for their insurance companies for all the paperwork they're doing, but also for their own personal healing. They need closure, and without those answers, they're not going to get it.
What did Governor Newsom say to you?
He said that this is the city's responsibility. They agree with us, and we're going to make sure that the state continues to work on getting these answers for our residents.
Last time you were here, you said that you were considering running for LA mayor.
Yes.
Where are we at?
It has been an incredibly difficult process. Just this morning, a labor leader called to say, please don't make a decision before the end of the week without talking to us. We haven't endorsed in this race. Somebody I've worked with for the past, 15 years. I mean, I think that kind of support I take very seriously. I know that I would win in this race, not only because the numbers tell me that. It doesn't take a mathematician to understand that.
Are you doing your own polling that shows you that?
Recent polling showed that 2/3 of Angelenos want a change in leadership. And so I'm very clear by the numbers that I could win, but also the people who have reached out, business leaders, advocacy groups. There are a lot of people who are reaching out looking for a different kind of leadership in this city.
So then why would you say no?
Because for me, it's not just about winning a race. It's about where is the right place for me to be investing my time and my work. I've started structurally changing how we're working on homelessness solutions. I've initiated with my partners on the Board of Supervisors governance reform in the county. These are historic changes for our region that need to be seen through.
Spencer Pratt filed his paperwork
I saw that
today.
in
There was
shorts, I
video
think,
of that.
right?
Yeah. What do you make of him and his entrance into the race? And when are you going to make your decision?
I think that it's clear that Spencer has been through a lot and his family have been through a lot. And I understand he has very real and credible reasons to have beef with the city. That doesn't mean he's a good candidate to make that change. We need somebody who actually understands how cities work and who understands the plethora of responsibility that mayors have in making the change in the community that I think Angelenos want to see.
And lastly, Casey Wasserman, who is leading LA's Olympic effort, LA 2028 for the entire world.